My name is Cassidy, and this is the Genre Evolution Simulator. So imagine there are 50 musicians, and each one has a musical style. Think of it as a point on a map. Every day, each musician listens to the people they're connected to and shifts their style slightly towards their peers. Every so often, one of them does something completely unexpected and jumps to a totally different sound. Over time, musicians who sound similar end up clustered together, and those clusters become genres. Nobody assigns them, nobody decides what they would be, they form on their own. So what the simulation does is it uses the Watt-Strogat small world model to show real social networks, and what they found is that social networks have two properties. Your friends tend to know each other, and yet the second point is you can still reach almost anyone in just a few steps. And those occasional long-distance connections model viral moments in music where an underground artist suddenly influences someone on the complete opposite side of the scene. So the simulation addresses one question: can large-scale genre structures arise purely from small local decisions made by individual artists with no one coordinating the outcome? In the real world, it's unclear whether genres emerge because of industry forces and gatekeeping, or whether it would happen naturally anyway, just from artists influencing each other. So the simulation isolates the local interaction mechanism and tests whether genre structure is a natural emergent property of peer influence and under what conditions diversity is preserved versus everyone converging to the same style. So what the results found was, yes, that across multiple runs, genres emerged automatically through peer influence and random innovation alone, so there was no external coordination that was needed to produce the genre structures. And there were three parameters that were primarily tested during sensitivity analysis. So innovation probability, P, has a threshold between 0.08 and 0.12, and below that threshold, the system always collapsed to one genre. Innovation noise at sigma has a threshold between 0.04 and 0.08, and sigma has the largest absolute effect on style spread of any parameter tested. And then network degree K produces the most complex response. Sparse networks sustain 3 genres. Intermediate connectivity sustains 2. The dense networks converge to 1. This is the only parameter without a clean threshold effect. And then the most important finding is that 3 genres only appear when both P and sigma are elevated simultaneously. Neither parameter alone is sufficient, so the effect is super additive. And just some notable findings that were found. So there was an interesting run. It was run 007. So the configuration was K equals 15. So the average degree 15 mean each artist was connected to 15 neighbors instead of the baseline 4. So what was expected to happen was that they were going to converge faster, but the early results suggested the opposite. Later on, when it was retested, it was found that when their K was 15 again, it did end up converging faster than the baseline. So that was kind of just an interesting anomaly there. Also, the 3-phase structure proved that the genre evolution is not a smooth, gradual process. It happens in distinct stages, so early on genres are small and unstable. In the middle phase, they fluctuate constantly, emerging and absorbing each other repeatedly, and in late phases, one genre dominates and the system stabilizes. So this is significant because it means the simulation produces realistic cultural dynamics. Real music history also shows periods of fragmentation, competition, and eventual consolidation around dominant genres. And then just kind of what would need to go forward is really just more testing and kind of expanding it out. So something that would be neat to kind of take forward is just like multi-seed replication, things like that. But other than that, I'll get on to the demonstration. So this is the baseline. So what you're looking at kind of right now is the genre stats panel on the left, and then it shows the different genres and they're color-coded. And then in the center is a 2D scatter plot, so each dot is one artist projected from their full style space down to 2 dimensions. The color is the genre, and the size of the dot is their network centrality. Bigger dots are the big bridge artists. So I'm going to go ahead and run the base simulation. And as each artist moves, you're going to see them kind of get pulled towards each other. So like I said, this is the base configuration. So it's the starting point. There are 50 artists. Low innovation probability is low, and you're kind of seeing those clusters already come together. So the dominant cluster is pulling everything towards it. The smaller genres, the ones with only 3 to 4 artists, are the first to disappear because they don't have enough mass to resist the influence of the groups around them. And pretty quickly, there's one genre. So the entire system converged, and then that's kind of what predicts. So every artist ended up in the same stylistic cluster through pure influence alone. So this is the baseline result: one genre, fast convergence, low spread, and this is what the system looks like without enough innovation to sustain diversity. So let's see. So basically, in conclusion, the core question was whether music genres can emerge naturally from artists influencing each other with no industry control or categories. And as shown, the answer is yes, that the conditions that determine whether diversity survives or collapses come down to 2 parameters: how often the artists innovate and how boldly they do it. Below the threshold, everything converges to one style. So the simulation doesn't just confirm the theory, it shows where a boundary would be.